but as far as the Moose Lodge, that doesn't seem to be an issue.
Anything else?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Old and new business, Mr. Vino?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of things. I would like to see us go forward, Mr. Young. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting. Doing something with a certificate of appreciation for any member of any board, committee, or commission that does resign or does not renew their term, for whatever reason. I think this would be good, a good PR for the town, and and for the persons also, to recognize their volunteer service to the town. I do have an application for a process serving constable. I notice we have 4, we are allowed 5. I guess my question is, could we post this with the time frame we have to post in the newspaper, and so I could possibly move forward on this? And well, we have to
Make an appointment.
We have to make an appointment. It has to be posted for 30 days. Correct me, I think it's 30 days.
Joe's the liaison to the constables.
Right.
So what you're saying is
Yes,
that
I'm the
we
liaison.
open it.
It has to be posted. Well, posted, it has to be published. Maybe I should say published.
It might be just committees, Mr. Vino. This is not a committee.
It's not process serving constables.
Well, it's not a committee, but if it's not published, there may not be other people out there who would want to put in for the position. I think we should make it known that we are going to be filling a position of a process serving constable. I thought we had to do that on the 30-day.
I can double check, Mr. Vino. I thought it was just, we can still do that.
Yeah.
Boards, committees, and
I'm
commissions.
just trying to go by.
There's boards, committees, and commissions. I didn't think it was every. We don't post.
Well, let's double check.
We don't post that we're appointing the town treasurer for 30 days. Other appointments of town.
But we would announce the opening, and we don't.
Yeah. We'll check into it if you would like. If we don't have to do it by policy, that's fine. I didn't want to go ahead and make the appointment and then have somebody say, gee, I didn't know you were going to be filling that.
If we don't have to, just.
And I guess the last thing I had is I just wanted to make clear some issues that were brought up at the last meeting by the HDC. And that is that the Historic District Commission, that was put on by a citizen's petition. Well, one member felt it was done by a Board of Selectmen, a member of the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen. It was not. It was done by a citizen's petition. And also, it does not have to be put back on the same way it was originally put on. Another member felt that if a citizen petition put it on originally, only a citizen's petition could remove it, and that is not so. And I just wanted to get that clear because there seems to be some confusion on that.
How do we know? I thought he was
I checked with Mr. Younger.
Okay, I thought he was quoting, I don't know, Mr. Sullivan. I think he was quoting the Secretary of State's office or something.
I spoke with Mr. Younger, and that was the answer.
It was placed on my system.
Okay, but as far as, there's different rules governing it, obviously. The Secretary of State's office is one thing. Whatever it needs, it is.
Well, just, I guess, if I may, just on that subject before we get too far afield, the citizen's petition was handed into the town clerk's office today. So it wasn't on tonight's agenda because it would have had to come in by last Thursday, and it did not. Came in today. There was a request last time that once the petition was submitted, that we have on the agenda to discuss, what information we need to have any town entities, including the HDC, including the Board of Selectmen, town meeting, or any other town entity, to react in a legally correct way to the petition. And so I will put that on the agenda. If you could put that on the agenda, Mr. Younger, for August 2nd. And Mr. Messere, if you could let the Historic District Commission know that it will be on the agenda August 2nd, you know, as early as possible on the agenda, since we'll probably have others here, and discuss that and get any information that needs clarification. At that time, we'll talk about that and see if there's a consensus on the board to get that clarification from town council. So that will be on the August 2nd agenda for all who are interested. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought we'd address that and get that out of the way and get all the questions answered. Mr. Callaghan?
Yeah, again, along those same lines, I was going to bring up, at the last meeting when that came up, I had said at that time that I was going to be speaking with Mr. Ritchie, who is the director of municipality, the municipality law department in the state attorney general's office. I spoke with him, I believe it was a day later from that Wednesday evening meeting we had here. And I spoke to him about the issues and so forth, and about the legality of the change in the town, in going to town meeting and so forth. And basically, what he said to me, and I bring this up tonight just so that, you know, this is something, if anybody wants to look into this themselves, give you the time between now and the next meeting to do so. What he said to me was that, first of all, in regards to what Mr. Vino just brought up, that under Chapter 39, Section 10, I believe it was, or it could have been Chapter 38, Section 10, of Mass General Law, any citizen has the right to petition town government, town meeting. It doesn't matter how a bylaw or a law was put into place within the town, but because under that general law, anybody can petition to change it. So it didn't matter whether it was brought by the Board of Selectmen originally, or this is according to the Attorney General. Second, what Mr. Ritchie basically said was that once a petition is filed, and this goes to the question that we had that evening of should we be using town council to research what steps need to be taken and so forth for the vote at town meeting to be meaningful. What Mr. Ritchie said was, once the petitioners file a petition, it is the town's legal obligation to make sure that all of its boards and committees follow the law. And it is our obligation to know what those steps are that need to be taken. So, you know, when this was filed today, all the clocks, once it was certified, which it was, I believe, at 3:25 this afternoon. Is that what it was? 3:25?
3:39.
3:39. The clocks all start ticking at 3:39 this afternoon. And all timelines and obligations of the town now are running. So that the sooner we get this information, and Mrs. Bailey and I have spoken of this offline, it is going to be on, she had committed to put it on the meeting for this evening. If the petition had been filed on Thursday, it wasn't in time. So I get it will be, as Mrs. Bailey stated, it'll be on the next agenda. But it's imperative for us, according to the Attorney General's office, that we must make sure that everything is being followed. When it was submitted last time before April town meeting, and I don't know why this happened or how it happened, it fell through the cracks, we'll say. Okay, and it was passed over because the vote wasn't going to count, and basically the reason was it wasn't stated in town council's opinion. Well, I guess it was stated. It said certain steps hadn't been followed. But the fact is, it was our obligation to follow those steps. And that's why it's imperative this time we get this information, we get it out to the HDC, because there are mandatory steps that they must now follow, that this petition has been filed. And we have to make sure that we live up to our obligation of the law, that those steps are filed, and that a vote at town meeting in October, whichever way that vote happens to go, is going to take effect. And that was basically his counsel, or not his counsel, but that's what he explained to me. He did say to me, and I pass this on to Mr. Younger and ask him to pass it on to town council. He did welcome a call from Darren Klein. He said he'd be more than willing to work with him at the AG level to make sure that a timetable, any timetables or time deadlines that have to be met were clearly spelled out so that they would know. But that, you know, as of 3:39 this afternoon, we are now the ones that are obligated to make sure that all steps are followed by all boards representing our town. And that's basically all I have to say on that in terms of my contact with Mr. Ritchie in his office. The other thing under old and new business that I had, it was a question, I guess, for Tom, was I was curious if the RFPs for the cell towers, if they've been issued.
As a matter of fact, the RFP is completed, and as you were working here, I was typing up the finishing touches on the lease, which has to go out with the RFP. So that should be issued within the next 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conlon.
Couple of things. One is, I met with the ITech committee on Wednesday, and I was pleased to report that the 2 members are present and participating, and also our 2 part-time IT people working in town hall at the meeting. And for the first time, there was a real great dialogue between them. They've been working on a complete task list that they're prioritized, and the dialogue back and forth between the people representing the day-to-day activity in the committee is leading to not only setting priorities, but to actually get this work done as expeditiously as possible. They are also evidently have come up with a way of probably very quickly able to put this camera information up on a website. So they're working on that as a means of providing citizen access to the camera database, portions of the camera database. Second thing is I attended the wastewater committee meeting. Mr. Hanlon recommended to the committee that they actually come before us to modify the charge and combine the wastewater committee with the storm water committee that needs to be formed. And the wastewater committee, those members that were there seem to be okay with the concept. So it wouldn't, at least the way I see it, wouldn't require reappointment, but it would require changing the name of the committee and the charter of the committee. And this would satisfy requirements, federal requirements that have to be met on storm water from a committee point of view. And a lot of the work that's being done is kind of, and the skill sets involved with the committees are pretty much the same. So I suspect we'll hear from Mr. Hanlon soon with that request.
Is that our appointment or yours?
The stormwater, I think, has been addressed. As far as the other committees,
And lastly is a question. Did the historic, the grant for the Batchelder School that you were working on with the superintendent, did that ever get filed?
yes, they did.
It did.
Mr. O'Leary, thank you.
Just an update on the 40B, two projects that are pending at this point. 2 subcommittees have met